Yo, some of you, Tom's the guy, welcome back to another YouTube video. I messed up that intro and I'm not gonna redo it. First off, let me say this. I love creepypastas. Since 6th grade, I've loved creepypastas. They're basically scary stories on the internet that are supposed to make you think about it and they jab at your conscience. They won't leave you. As they say, it's a fine line between hate and love. I hate getting scared, but it's addicting. I always find myself watching creepypastas again because they're so interesting. People love to get scared and they hate to get scared, which is weird. So there's this guy called Llama Arts. I don't know. Credit to this guy for making this. 14 horror stories animated. It's called compilation of 2015. Now this is 53.5 minutes long, so I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. In fact, I've already seen some of these. I've seen people react to these, specifically blasters. So here we go.
It was very common for me to be home alone at night, as I only lived with my dad, and his shifts would constantly shift from days to nights. This happened around the time my dad was doing night shifts.
That looks weird.
I would stay up really late on these nights watching movies. It's always taken me a long time to fall asleep, so after turning off the TV to go to sleep, I probably laid there for a good half hour. Then, I heard a toy fall over in my toy closet. It was nothing too suspicious, but it still creeped me out. But then the doorknob to my closet started to wiggle, until finally
your closet, dude.
I hid under my covers, not making a sound. It was strangely quiet for a good 2 minutes, so I finally peeked my head out of the covers. There was a figure standing next to my bed, looking down at me. I screamed at the top of my lungs and began hugging the wall behind me. The figure looked out the window and then just walked away out of the room. I stayed in that position for like an hour before checking if he was really gone. The front door was left wide open, so it seemed he had left. I didn't get a minute of sleep that night.
Why did I laugh? That was it?
This story.
That was it? Really? I mean, I'm not dissing it because it's short. There are plenty of short creepypastas out there that are really good. I mean, that one wasn't scary at all. Not at all. Teenage stalker. Okay.
This story is from the point of view of a 16-year-old girl. I used to have a boy living next door to me that was obsessed with me. His name was Joey. Every time I would go outside, Joey would come outside as well, as if he were watching me through his windows, waiting for me. He was 17 and very weird, and he didn't seem to have any friends, as he was always home. I tried to give every sign possible that I didn't like this guy, but he wouldn't get the message. So I had to finally just tell him one day that I don't like him and to leave me alone. The look on his face that day is something that won't leave me. It was the kind of angry look a toddler gives their parents when they can't have a toy. Coming from a 17-year-old, that's much more disturbing. One night, my parents left me to watch the house. I was working on a school project when I felt my bed shift a little bit. I looked under my bed.
Really? Really? First of all, how did he get... Never mind. I'm not gonna go rambling. That still creeps me out. See, here's the thing. I'm sorry, I'm gonna ramble. I have a specific fear of eyes staring at me, and I hate it. See, I have really specific fears. I have a fear of creepy crawlies, which a lot of people can understand. I have a fear of sharks, which a lot of people can understand. But my worst fear is creepy eyes staring at me. But here's the thing. They have to look a specific way. A lot of the time, if the white is really apparent and everything else is dark, that gets me. See, there are things that are not even scary to most people, but they're scary to me just because they apply, because I have such a specific fear. See, I used to think I was scared of the dark, for example, but it wasn't that I was scared of the dark. It's because a lot of the things in my closet looked like people. And in fact, sometimes it would be white shirts against black shirts, and it would look like creepy eyes, like staring at me like this. Okay, this is creeping me out. I'm gonna stop that now. But I have this very specific fear of that, and I hate it. And, I can't stand... That was a good jump scare.
I screamed as I saw Joey laying under my bed. I ran away while he tried to crawl out from under my bed. I ran to his house and rang the bell at least 10 times, telling his parents about it when they opened the door. Joey never came out of my house, so I called the police. His parents begged me not to, but I ignored them. The police found him still in my room and arrested him. Apparently, he admitted this wasn't the first time he had hid under my bed. They also found pictures of me scattered across his room. The most disturbing one was of me sleeping, and it was taken from inside my room.
Sorry, my little brother's here. One more. Why are these so freaking addictive? I don't know why. I feel like I could watch this whole video. Just knock them all out. Midnight Office.
Working the night shift always sucked. I work in an office building and would constantly do the night shifts since it was the only time it would work out for me. I was just about always the only person on the floor I worked on, possibly in the whole building. There would always be a kind of eerie feeling to being in such a big building with most of the lights out
No
and
kidding.
absolutely no one around. But on the upside, it was peaceful and less stressful, and I was able to get a lot of work done. There was this one night, though. It was a Friday night, around 2 in the morning. I was typing away on my keyboard when I heard a noise from outside my cubicle. It sounded like just a random crack from the walls or something. It's unusual in this building, but I didn't get too concerned about it. I resumed typing away and was once again interrupted by a sound. This time, the sound of a computer starting up. It caught me off guard. I was sure nobody else was working the night shift. I stood up on my chair to get a view over the cubicle walls. The glare of a computer screen in the dark was visible in a cubicle on the opposite side of the room. Then I did something stupid, something I regret.
Creepypastas.
I asked if there was anybody there in a yell, hoping to get an answer from a fellow employee.
As someone once said, horror is not horror unless someone goes and does something stupid. Those are not my quotes.
But instead, I saw the glaring light of the computer monitor across the room turn off, and there was once again nothing but darkness on that side of the room. I started getting nervous. I turned off the lamp and computer screen so that I wouldn't give away my position to whoever that was. I crouched down and tiptoed out across to a nearby cubicle. There was just utter silence. I sat waiting for something to happen for God knows how long.
Come on.
But I eventually decided the coast was clear. I tiptoed down past all the cubicles until I reached the opening near the exit door to the stairs and elevators. And that's when I realized that my fearful suspicion was true. There was a man crouched down behind a plant in the corner of the room, dressed in all black. I felt my heart sink as I noticed him, but it didn't seem like he knew that I noticed him. I turned back to the stairway door. There was no way I was going to wait for the elevator and take a chance. I casually opened the door and closed it behind me, proceeding to walk down the stairs. After making it down about 2 flights of stairs,
nice and light,
I heard the door above me push open aggressively, followed by manic echoing footsteps coming fast down the stairs. I raced down the stairs, running as fast as I could, all while the footsteps above me were getting louder. I finally made it to the first floor, raced through the lobby, and out the front door. Whoever was in there didn't follow me. I immediately called the cops, along with one of my bosses. My boss said no one was scheduled to work except for me. The cops scanned the place from top to bottom. There was no one in there. I couldn't help them out with any description other than he was wearing all black. I did continue to do the night shift for about a week after that.
What?
With my boss allowing me to lock all possible entrances to the floor, including the elevators. But I still wasn't comfortable with it, so ever since, I've been doing the day shifts.
Smart. Very smart. The pizza guy. I want to watch another one. Dang it. Alright, I'll watch another one. I don't know if you guys are willing to... Maybe I'll have to split this video into 2 parts. I don't know.
This happened 4 years ago when I was still in high school. I was told to do my last delivery of my shift. I got in my car, which was a 1999 Camry, perfect for delivering pizzas. I GPS'd the address on my phone.
At least we're not in a building yet. Let me guess. They're gonna pull an Emily Wants to Play on us, and he's gonna go in the building. Let me guess. I swear, if he does.
I live upstate in the country, so all pizza deliveries were long drives. I remember the sun was starting to set, so it was probably around 7 o'clock.
Clown?
I'd say after a good 15 minutes of driving through the foresty dirt roads, my GPS said I had arrived. It was an old little cottage-like house made almost entirely of wood. It was sitting all by itself in the middle of absolutely nothing but forest. The lawn was completely unkept, as the grass was almost at knee height. I was used to this kind of thing, so I didn't think much of it. I took the pizza to the front door.
Makes sense.
There was no doorbell, so I knocked loudly on the door. Within 10 seconds, I heard the sound of footsteps hitting wood on the inside of the house.
So far, he's making reasonable decisions. I'm glad.
The footsteps made it to the door and stopped. I started to feel uneasy. I got the feeling that I was being watched. And that's when I noticed there was a peephole in the door.
Yeah.
"It's the pizza guy," I called out. I heard a low, harsh-sounding voice on the other side of the door, telling me to bring the pizza out back. I didn't like the idea of going back there. Something didn't seem right. "Are you sure, sir?" I called out. He didn't answer my question. The sound of footsteps didn't move away from the door, so I had the feeling he was still watching me.
Well, yeah.
I almost found myself walking back to my car, but I decided I didn't want any trouble with my boss. The last time I brought a pizza back, he gave me attitude, so I reluctantly walked
Mario! I'm funny and stuff.
through the uncut grass and around the small house to the back.
Uncut. Why does that make me paranoid of all things? It's a little cottage in the middle of nowhere, and there's a deep, harsh voice, and there's the guy staring at him through the cubicle. The uncut grass makes me paranoid. Knowledge.
I remember there was a shed and a little patio back there. In the patio, there was a table with 4 chairs surrounding it. In one of the chairs, facing away from me, I saw the head of somebody sitting in the seat. I began walking over and said, "Excuse me."
This is pretty good animation. The expressions. Sorry, I keep pausing it.
But the person didn't even move an inch.
Is it dead? He?
"Excuse me," I said again louder. Then from behind me, I heard, "Psst, over here." I turned around to see a man poking his head out from the corner of the house, looking at me with a crazed smile. "Come over here, I want to show you something." I freaked out, turned around, and ran around the house in the opposite direction, back to my
What the crap is on the swing? What is that?
car, for some reason still holding the pizza.
What is that?
I got in my car, started it, and got away from there.
It's staring at the car.
On my way back to the pizzeria, I pulled over to the side of the road and called the police. Eventually, I was informed that there was no sign of anybody having been in that house for a long time. I quit my delivery job a few days after that. I have no idea what would have happened to me had I gone up to that man, but to this day, I still wish I had just turned my head to see who or what was sitting in that patio chair.
That's a good creepypasta. Boom. I like that one. That one was really good. See, that's what a creepypasta is meant to do. It's meant to leave questions. What was blah blah blah? Why was blah 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 happening? Where did blah blah blah? Whatever. It's supposed to leave questions. It's got to nag at you. The point of a good creepypasta is to make you think about it and leave mystery. Because here's the thing. There's this thing about the brain. I'm going to try not to ramble too much. I'm rambling already. There's a thing about the brain called the something. I don't know what it's called. Basically, it's this thing the human brain has where if it's encountered with a puzzle or anything that can be finished, it wants it finished. If it's not finished, your brain keeps thinking about it. So let's say, this was in a Game Theories episode actually. Let's say you're playing a game and you're in the middle of a level, right? And you don't finish the level because your parents call you over to have dinner. And as you're eating dinner, you're thinking about the game because it was something you didn't finish. And your mind is still saying, I gotta finish this. So it's constantly reminding you so that you don't forget. Except for people like me who are really forgetful. It's how humans are wired. What good creepypastas do is they don't finish the story necessarily. They leave things unanswered. And it makes you think about it because that's how we're wired. You just naturally think about it. And that's what makes a creepypasta so good. It just depends on the question. Is the question scary? What was in the chair? Is it a dead body? Is it, I don't know, a trap of some sort? I don't know. Exactly. That's the point. I don't know. And that's what makes it so good. I love it. It's really good. I like that. That was really cool. Let me tell a short one just as an example. You know, it doesn't even have to be that long. Here's one that's 2 sentences long. There's a picture on my phone of me sleeping. I live alone. The point is it makes you think about it. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. It actually revealed what it was. That's not normal for a creepypasta. What the crap? I want to keep watching. I seriously want to keep watching. Dang it. Well, this is definitely going to be split into 2 videos at least. So creepy. It's so good though. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's see if we can make it through. Matthew. Okay. That's my dad's name.
It was during a blizzard in Valley Stream. I was getting paid $250 to watch some couple's kid while they went away for the weekend.
Whoa! $250. That's pretty decent. Hey.
His name was Matthew. This took place on the first night, which was a Friday night.
I expected the kid to be a girl, because little girls are really cliche in horror stories.
Matthew was already supposedly asleep, while I was in the living room watching a movie. I got a knock at the door, and looked at the clock. It was close to midnight. There was no way I was opening it. Not even 10 seconds later, I heard the sound of 2 or 3 men angrily banging on the door, telling me to open up. I felt like my heart was about to stop. I took a peek through the blinds, and there was somebody standing right on the other side of the window.
I should have guessed that! I should have guessed that! And I did! I saw that coming, but it's creepy. This guy, whoever animated this, is good with making eyes look creepy.
I fell back in fear, and after managing to get back on my feet, I ran to the kitchen phone first thing to call the police. They said because of the weather, it could take a while for an officer to get here. I was told to take the child and hide somewhere until an officer arrived. They wanted to keep me on the line, but I wasn't thinking clearly in the heat of the moment and hung up. However, it wasn't until I ran through the living room that I realized the banging had stopped. I took a second peek through the living room window. Nobody was there now. I heard the sound of glass shattering from a few rooms over.
That's not funny.
My knees started to feel weak as I realized they had just broken the window and were about to climb into the house. I had to run and get Matthew. I couldn't just leave without him. Of course.
What if Matthew's behind all this?
When I got upstairs, there was no time left to run back downstairs, as I already heard footsteps and laughter coming from downstairs. I covered Matthew's mouth with my hand as I ran with him into his toy closet. A few minutes dragged on to what felt like half an hour as we sat there in the dark closet. Matthew began to squeal as footsteps on the carpet reached the outside of his bedroom door.
This is very well made, by the way. This is really well made. Voice crack.
There was more than one person.
No. No.
That came inside.
I don't like that angle.
There weren't many places to hide in this room. I was actually reflecting on my whole life, so sure I was gonna die. We heard the sound of a police siren outside, even from in the closet, and then I heard one of the men in the room mutter, "Oh shit." I opened the door back up as I heard at least 3 pairs of footsteps hurriedly rushing down the stairs. They didn't get far, as the police later found their footprints in the backyard, leading to our shed. There were 5 men in total, and they were all arrested.
5. Well, she's what's the title? Okay, I saw this one. This one's good though. I'll leave a link in the description to the original video if you want to see it. But some of these I've already seen, so I'll skip this one. This one wasn't bad either. This one was pretty good. Late night delivery. Oh, now I see that the titles of the stories are becoming more elaborate, more decorated than just plain old text going red. Late night delivery.
I'll never forget this night. The pizza place I worked at was about to close.
Pizza place. Again!
And I was getting ready to go home when the phone rang. I was working the counter alone that night, so I was taking calls. I picked up the phone. There was complete silence, so I hung up. About a minute later, the phone rings again, so I pick up again. Still silence. I was about to hang up again when I heard the very weak and cold voice of an old woman on the other end. She said she wanted a regular pie delivered. I remained polite on the phone, but on the inside I was screaming. I just wanted to get home and end my shift. I called out to my boss that somebody is requesting a delivery, He told me I had to go. I was upset at first, but I realized it's another tip, and the old ones usually tip the most, so I decided it was okay.
Wow, come on.
I took down the address and told her I would be there soon.
I mean, I understand. He wants to get off work, but...
But she had already hung up. I thought that was rude, but I ignored it and yelled to the chef that I needed one regular. My boss told me to just go home after the delivery as the place would be closed. So a little before 10 o'clock, I got in my car and put the address into my GPS. The house was 7 miles away. The GPS took me to the quiet side of town.
The hood? That's what it looks like.
Arrived to the house. It was a small, one-floor house on a very quiet and empty block. I took the pizza and walked up to the door and rang the doorbell.
I thought that was blood. Is that blood?
There were no lights on in the house.
I
hoped that she hadn't...
There's a person right there.
...given me the wrong address. I rang the doorbell again. There was still no answer.
There's a person right there.
I was about to give up when I turned my head and saw somebody standing at the window. I got a little freaked out and backed up at first, but I eventually got closer to the window to see the person. It was an old woman, probably in her late 70s. She was just staring at me with a blank expression. I yelled to her through the glass that I had her pizza. She didn't react to what I said, so I screamed it louder. A big smile ran across her face. Not a pleasant, genuine smile. It was a smile that sent chills down my spine. I still remember that exact face she made through the window. I decided that I was freaked out enough and got back to my car and set the pizza in the passenger seat. I had to text my boss about this.
Cue.
I shot him a quick text and started my car, ready to get the hell away. I looked to my right to get one more look, to see the woman standing right outside my passenger side window, giving me the same stare she had given me before. I put my car in drive and floored it down the street, not looking back. My boss never made me do a late night delivery again.
Did the car break down? Trick or treats. Oh, I like the sound of that. I've heard actually really creepy stories about Halloween. Creepy stuff goes down on Halloween, like legit. It's an excuse for people to do a lot of bad stuff to kids, especially because, you know, they're just going around to strangers' doors asking for candy. You could pretty much do anything at Halloween. It's a pretty dangerous holiday.
It was Halloween night of 2007, freshman year in high school, and I was with my friends, Ivan, Ryan, and Jesse. We were all dressed as the Super Mario characters.
Mario? Seriously? The Super Mario characters.
I was Luigi since I was the second tallest. Ivan was Mario since he's short.
Mario. I grew up with Mario, okay? I can't stand when people say Mario.
Short and buff. Not that Mario was buff. Jesse was Waluigi because he's freakishly tall and skinny, and Ryan was Wario because he's just really fat. So they were the perfect group costumes for us. We live in a very non-congested suburban neighborhood with a decent amount of space in between houses. On Halloween, that's the worst thing ever. Less bang for your buck. We were trick-or-treating for hours, way past dark, and eventually came the time when most trick-or-treaters were heading home. My feet started to hurt, and I had to constantly switch arms for holding the now 10-pound pillow sack of candy.
Disney World's flashbacks.
But we planned on going until our bags were completely full. A lot of the houses by now weren't answering anymore. It was probably past their cutoff time for giving candy to trick-or-treaters. Approaching our next house, we saw a purple bucket on the stoop, which was the best feeling ever.
Whoa, there's a person in the window.
I was the one to get close enough to realize it was empty.
See, I like how this animator puts stuff for observers like me to notice ahead of time, to add to the suspense. I like how he adds stuff that you can see beforehand. He's really good with details. He's very good with details, with the specific eyebrow raises to show specific emotions and stuff like that. And this guy's really good. Wow.
Which was the worst feeling ever. I turned around when I heard a knock at the window of the house. We all looked at the window. Couldn't see anyone, but heard someone call out, "Wait."
Don't trust
The
that.
door opened, and an older man, late 40s,
Oh, I don't like the looks of that. Let me back this lamp up. It's all the lighting I have.
balding, stepped outside. He told us to come inside so he can get us some more candy. I said we could just wait out here. He responded saying something along the lines of, "Nonsense, come on in, we'll get you your candy." Ivan stepped in and said, "It's alright. Come on, Dan, let's go." I told the guy to take care and apologized. He just stood there watching as we walked off, not saying anything. I felt bad, but at the same time, that guy seemed like a creeper, and I figured I just dodged a bullet not going in there. If the story ended there, it wouldn't be scary, so of course, it didn't end there. We skipped a few of the guy's neighboring houses just to get further away and continued on with our business.
Jump scare.
We were walking down close to the nature preserve now, so there weren't many houses around us. At this point, we were now walking back closer to Jesse's house.
Nature preserve. This guy's actually kind of funny. He's actually kind of funny.
I noticed Ryan had stopped walking, and I turned around to see what's up. He said he heard someone moving from behind the trees in the preserve. Now, this was before everyone's phones had flashlights, so we couldn't just go searching in the woods for someone. Besides, we were just telling Ryan that it must have been a raccoon or something. You may think this is a bit of a cliche, but when things like this happen in real life, you always assume the more logical possibility. It's just natural. Why would we assume we were being followed?
I like how the guy who made the story, whoever it was, added that. That's a good point.
I had to put my arm around Ryan's shoulder and nudge him forward. A little ways down the street,
It's not really showing my eyes, sorry. There we go. That's better.
me and Ivan picked up on the sound as well. When we all stopped, the sounds of the footsteps from beyond the trees stopped as well. Ivan yelled at the obvious stalker to go away, or we would beat the shit out of them. I knew he was just bluffing, though. I could hear the nervousness in his voice. The snap of a twig from beyond the trees triggered a fight-or-flight response in all of us. Me, Jesse, and Ryan all ran for it. Ivan was at first charging to attack, but he quickly followed after realizing we had all taken off. We ran down the dark street, and we all noticed the sounds of at least 2 or 3 pairs of footsteps crushing the twigs and leaves in the woods. We banked it hard right down Jesse Street when it finally came up, and ran straight for his backyard, entering his house through the back door. The first thing we did was peek out through his living room window.
Come
We
on!
couldn't see anyone. We all had to gather our thoughts and discuss what the hell just went down in his living room, when all of a sudden we heard Jesse's backyard gate slam shut. Jesse dove to turn off the lights. There was a click and a bang from down in the den. It was more than likely Jesse's back door. We all agreed to go down armed with knives and
Cliche strings.
face them. Jesse turned on his back door light, but there was nobody out there. Just then the front door opened, and we all screamed like animals. Jesse's mom and sisters came rushing downstairs. They had just gotten home from their friend's little house party. We all rested assured knowing it was just them. Jesse explained what happened, but made it seem a lot less dramatic. Me and Ivan went home after that and called it a night. At 12:30 a.m., I got a disturbing text message. It was from Jesse. It said, "It wasn't my mom." I texted back saying, "What?" He responded back quickly, saying, "It wasn't my mom in the backyard." My fingers slammed the buttons on my phone, responding back, "What do you mean?" There was a long pause before he finally told me that his mom and sisters said they never went in the backyard. I told him to immediately check the backyard from his upper deck. He had already done just that. He also told his mom everything, and she had already called the police. They didn't find anyone back there, but Jesse did mention the guy who invited us in while trick-or-treating.
Okay.
Nothing ever became of that, and nothing ever happened at Jesse's house again after that one Halloween night.
That was some good old creepypasta humor right there. That was a good wink. If you guys didn't get that, those were basically characters from different stories, you know. Ben Drown, Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, and what was the fourth one? I'm not sure who that is. That was kind of funny. Hallucination.
You can see some weird things when you're tired. But the thing about this story, I wasn't tired. Me and the family were on vacation to some resort in a very rural area of Pennsylvania.
That was a good way to start the story.
To make the setting creepier. There weren't many young people there for me and my brothers to hang out with. It seemed like more of an adult resort. But then one day when I was walking outside of the main lodge of the resort, I for some reason looked up to a window on the second floor and saw a teenage girl looking down at me. From that distance, she looked kinda cute, so I gave her a wave. But she didn't show any sign of reaction, so I just moved on. However, later that same day, I was so bored that I was sitting on the swing set at the little playground of the resort, and that's when I saw the same girl again. She was a little ways away from me down past the playground, close to the tree line, and she was just standing there staring at me. Being a teenage guy, my hormones controlled my body, and so I got off the swing and began walking over to her. As I started getting closer to her, I realized she wasn't as cute as I thought she was. There was something about her face that just gave off a creepy vibe. I can't put my finger on it, but if I had to say, I think it would have to do with her eyes and her mouth. I'd say once I got about halfway over to her, she turned around completely and ran into the woods. And I mean she full on ran into the woods. I stopped in my tracks, completely turned off. This girl seemed like a freaky stalker.
Yeah, no kidding.
I didn't see her the rest of our stay at the resort.
That's cool, Portal shirt.
During the car ride home, miles and miles away from the resort, I was thinking about her. How maybe if I followed her into the woods, I could have gotten laid. Even though the...
Seriously? Really, dude? With her? I don't think so.
Was something off about her face.
Well, yeah.
But then what I saw next made me feel like my heart dropped into my stomach. Looking down ahead, I saw the same girl standing by the tree line on the side of the highway. As we sped past her, I saw her head turn so that she was always looking right at me, even through the tinted minivan windows. I asked my parents if they saw her, and they just responded, "Saw who?" Soon afterwards, I accepted that it was all in my head, and that the girl was never even there.
Daryl's Pond. That's cool.
There used to be a pond about half a mile away from my old house that I would commonly go fishing in. It was nicknamed Daryl's Pond. I still have no idea who Daryl was or why it was called that, but nobody owned it, so people would once in a blue moon go fishing there as well. It was usually me by myself, though.
Okay.
I had dug a pole into the ground where I would tie a noose to and from my small kayak. I'd say it was about 3 in the afternoon when I rowed out to the middle of the pond, the sweet spot for getting a decent catch. There was another person coming out from the trees. I waved at him and gave him a smile. He hopped into a small boat floating by the edge of the pond and began to row over to me. As he got close enough where trying to speak to him wouldn't come off as obnoxious, I gave him a friendly, "Perfect day, isn't it?" "Yes, absolutely," he said. He didn't say anything after that, and I started to feel a bit awkward, as if I were obligated to keep some kind of conversation rolling now. "So, you come out here to throw some lines?" I asked. "No, I don't actually fish." "Oh, well, it's never a bad day to relax on the pond," I said. He continued to row closer to me until his boat collided with mine, creating a big thud. I was genuinely uncomfortable now. I didn't feel threatened, just weirded out. I was only 24 years old. This guy looked like he was late 40s or 50s. There was an awkward silence. I tried to just act like I was focused on trying to make a catch.
Go away.
But by now, that wasn't even on my mind. This guy was weird. I didn't know what he wanted.
This animation
is
really good.
I was uncomfortable being so close to him. I felt him looking at me, or at least in my direction, as I faced halfway to the opposite direction of him. I took a quick glance to my right. Yeah, he was staring at me. I decided to be ballsy and lock eye contact with him. After about 4 seconds, he looked away. So, where are you from? I asked him. Up there. He pointed behind himself, in the direction of the woodsy hill leading past the dirt road.
What's with the audio quality when they talk?
Oh, you live by Suffolk? I asked. No, I'm not, he said. What made you decide to come out here? I said. Why not? I continued to try and uncomfortably fill the awkward silences that kept coming up. His responses were dry. He didn't contribute anything to what was barely a conversation. He just sat there not doing anything, with half a smile on his face, looking either at me or in my general direction throughout. I was creeped out. My heart was racing at this point. I'd go as far as saying that I was nervous for my life. We were surrounded by trees in all directions, in the middle of a pond. I started to row a bit closer to land, but in a very low-key kind of way, trying to play it off as me just trying to find a better spot to find some fish. I was horrified when I saw he was following me.
Yeah.
What a great day, huh? I felt a shake in my voice. I got close enough to the edge of the pond where I finally told the man, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I turned to see his reaction. He was still staring at me, but his smile was gone now.
Oh.
I can't let you leave, he said. He lifted his flannel to expose a handgun sticking out of his jeans pocket. As soon as I could process what I was looking at, I dove out of the boat for land, ran the whole half-mile uphill through the woods back to my house, and locked every door and window as soon as I made it home. I pulled down the blinds to the dining room window, leaving it open just a crack for peeking outside undetected. It started to get dark out, and I left every light in the house off, still peeking out to the front yard, making sure I wasn't followed. The time came when I finally decided I wasn't followed. I realize now, like you, that not calling the police immediately was a huge mistake.
Yes! Exactly.
I kept my bedroom windows open to let the room air out.
I like how he added that, like you. Because I was thinking that, call the police.
My bedroom was on the second
But then I thought maybe they're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no police there. And you gotta fend for yourself.
floor, so I wasn't worried about being watched through the window. About half an hour after shutting the light and falling under the covers, I heard the sound of leaves crunching from outside. I sat up to hear it more clearly. It was definitely something walking around out there. Normally I would assume it was a deer or a bear, but after what just happened, I was still in paranoia mode. I sat up as still as a statue, except for my shaking out of fear, waiting as the sounds of the steps stopped. Hey buddy, you up there? Are you trying to sleep? Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. I felt like 100 pounds just fell directly onto my chest. It was the same voice. I knew it right away. I didn't make a sound. I crept out of the room quietly downstairs to the kitchen and grabbed the phone, practically crawling on my way out to avoid being seen through the open blinds. I called 911 like I should have earlier in the temporary safety of my bedroom. I made sure to whisper into the phone, as I was still hoping that he hadn't yet heard or spotted me. 20 minutes felt like an hour as I sat behind my bed, waiting for the police to arrive in constant fear that I would hear glass breaking from downstairs, or a thud on the back door, or even just a voice again from down below my window outside. The police did a thorough investigation of the property in nearby woods, turning up nothing. They suggested I stay with a friend or a family member for a few days, and so I did. I never heard from or saw the man again, but I still moved a month later. I couldn't deal with the constant fear and paranoia of being watched through my windows.
Smart.
I feel much more comfortable fishing out by the bay now.
Really? Okay. Needless jump scare. That wasn't even a part of the story. Like, see, these are animated versions of another channel's videos. So that was literally not even part of the... Hang on, what was it, though? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, is that the same guy? I can't tell. I don't know. What is this?
The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long, rotting nails through my chest, her other hand muffling my screams. I sat bolt upright, relieved it was only a dream, but as I saw my alarm clock read 12:06, I heard my closet door creak open.
Oh my goodness, I've heard that before! There was actually a video full of 2-sentence creepypastas that a guy I watched reacted to. And I'm guessing this is Mr. Nightmare reading them?
Growing up with cats and dogs, I got used to the sound of scratching at my door while I slept. Now that I live alone, it's much more unsettling.
Whoa.
I begin tucking him into bed and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed."
I've seen that.
I always thought my cat had a staring problem. She always seemed fixated on my face, until one day when I realized that she was always looking just behind me.
Oh, that's creepy! That's creepy. Oh, it's a 2015 compilation. I see. Okay, so this guy clearly does a lot of creepypasta videos, and this is a compilation. Oh! Easter eggs 2015. True Craigslist horror story. Oh, this character inspired by Harry Mason from Silent Hill. Oh, really? Also, these are Easter eggs. Okay, that's cool. Okay. True Nightmarish Stories, Volume 5. Alright. Okay. Rick from Rick and... Oh my goodness! I don't really watch the show, but it's pretty funny. Yeah, who is that? Samara from The Ring. I've heard of that. Maybe some stories. Oh, it also has when they were posted. That's cool. Okay, this one. Johnny Bravo's living room. Oh, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe I just forgot. Alex, a Clockwork Orange. Not sure what that is either. And again, I'm tired. It's pretty late at night. It's officially night now, if you can see from the window back there. Sleepover stories. I saw that one. I skipped it in this video because I already seen it. That one's pretty good though. Pizza from Pit Street. Oh! Oh yeah, that's right! That's cool. Monolith. A space odyssey. Oh, that's cool! Pretty poorly made troll face, but okay. Person stories? This is the one with the creepy girl, right? Oh, never mind. Ryu Hazuki's jacket. I'm not sure who that is. Sounds like an anime character. Background. The Gold Room is Shining. Isn't The Shining like a horror or famous horror movie or something? The one with like the Here's Johnny thing? The Shining. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I know nothing about it. I just know it has a famous meme in it. Backgrounds. Jack and Wendy's... What? Jack and Wendy Torrance's The Shining. Okay. Yeah, obviously a horror movie. Overlook Hotel's carpet, The Shining. Yeah, apparently The Shining is like a really famous horror movie or something. Memorial Courage. Oh yeah! I never watched this show, but I heard of it. That's cool. Pizza Delivery Stories 2. Oh, which one was this? Oh yeah. Promotional poster, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. I'm not sure what that is. Address of the Munsters. I don't know. If any of these are things that I should know, but I don't, I apologize. More promotional posters, Oddworld. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Trick or Treat Stories, okay. Yeah, what was that? The Mothman. Oh, the Mothman! That's a creepypasta, or it's not a creepypasta, it's actually an urban legend. It's a, cryptid! Oh, that's it! Oh, okay. Cryptids, yeah, they were like Boogeyman, Bigfoot, Loch Ness, Mothman. Oh, those are all cryptids. I remember now. It's been so long since I've been into cryptids. I used to be into those like all the time when I was a kid. Now they're replaced by creepypastas. Healthier. Anyways, so yeah, I used to be into cryptids, and Mothman is one of them. Yeah. Okay, the Rake. Okay, the Rake. Yeah, it doesn't really look like the Rake, to be honest. Been Drowned, the Rake, Slenderman, and Death the Killer. Scariest hallucinations people have had. Which one was this one? Oh, yeah. Okay, I called that, yeah. Chi-Chi Dragon Ball Z, never watched the show. Fishing stories, alright, one we just watched. These are cool, these are really cool. Yeah, I saw that. Get base, what is that? Sega base fishing poster. Friday the 13th ending. Spoiler alert, sheesh. 4 creepy 2-sentence stories. Okay. What? Toshio Saiki Ju-on The Grudge. Oh, I do not want to see The Grudge. That looks horrifying. Bonus, the phone call. House, scaled down version, Home Alone. Ha! Yeah, I didn't see this one. Character inspired by Kevin's parents in Home Alone. Thank you for an amazing year. See you in 2016. Okay, I was expecting a dumpster. That was a cool video. That was cool. I liked how it showed like the Easter eggs at the end. That was cool. So yeah, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did. It was really entertaining. As horrifying as it was, which is what made it so entertaining. I don't know why this video was so addicting to watch, but it was. And there's actually another one that, I don't know if I'll react to that one, but I might as well just subscribe to this guy. This guy was cool. He was really cool. By the way, if there's anything else you want me to react to, be sure to tell me in the comments. Or anything else you want me to do, any challenge, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for next video. Peace. That was horrible. What was I doing? Never mind.